Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise, and we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We're going to talk about fatherhood. This is really exciting. The balancing act of entrepreneurship, and my guest is Mr. Boyson Mokone, a father in his own right and an entrepreneur as well. So we're going to dig deeper in a moment, but let's start the ball rolling, kick everything off with an introduction. Who are you and what are you up to these days?
Thank you, Mr. Mogobe. My name is Boyson Boipelo Mokone. Yeah, I'm a guy that was born and raised in Old Naledi, and currently I am the founding president of an organization called Youth of Hope Safe Haven Organization, and I'm the director of a company called Boyson Boipelo Mokone Motivational Services. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a hip-hop artist. I'm called G-Word. In the 90s, I was called Rude Boy because everything unfolded when I became a music artist in 1994. That's when I was doing Form 2 at Maikano Junior Secondary School.
You know, you are not the only one in this space called Rude Boy. There's another gentleman by there. Have you met the other Rude Boy?
I haven't met the other Rude Boy yet.
Now I'll introduce you to him. But just tell me what your educational training is, your formal training is, and that will lay a foundation for our discussion.
Okay. I finished my Cambridge at Lerumo Secondary School in 1997. And during that time, I didn't do well because I was caught up in the web trap of ecstasy and alcoholism. I was using drugs at a young age. But then as I went on, I felt like I had to prove a point because I've been intelligent, I've been understanding. I had to prove a point or no, do you know what? I can still go back to school. So I enrolled myself at Automotive Trades Technical College. I've done electrical and mechanical engineering. So basically that's all that there is apart from the other courses that I do on the sides.
So after you got your, is it a degree or a diploma?
No, because EME had certificate and then a diploma later. So I did the certificate one. Then I felt, you know, I have to share my life story with other people of how drugs are damaging, of how drugs can dismantle a peaceful family. So instead of going back to school again when the introduction of diploma was put in place, I was already on another route of being a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you start your motivational speaking career?
I started in 2015 because when I quit drugs in 2014, in 2015, I had a team of guys. We were 8 in number. We walked from Gaborone to Francistown. It was a prayer walk against road accidents along the A1. But then I discovered that I had this nagging dream of having or creating a platform that I would be able to interact with different people at a time. That's when now in 2016, after the formulation of Youth of Hope Safe Haven Organization, I called myself BBM, the motivator, in that platform because mostly I shared my life story.
What does the B stand for? The
They are my names, Boyson Boipelo Mokone, the motivator.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And one of the things we want to talk about in the context of balancing act of entrepreneurship and fatherhood is communication. So let's start there. Communication is key. Can you just lay the groundwork when you talk about fatherhood, balancing act for entrepreneurship?
Well, when I came with that topic, fatherhood, the balancing act of entrepreneurship, I looked at myself as an aspiring entrepreneur. While I was at ATTC, I had a business called Root Boy Investments. I had caps embroidered, Root Boy wear. I was making a lot of money, but I didn't know how to save. I was just creating and only eating. But then I became a young father in that process, an absent father for that matter. And as I came along in life, I discovered, do you know what? Fatherhood and business, these are two things that will always keep a man on his toes. When you want to enjoy seeing the growth and development of your kids at home, you are not to be absent. You have to be there on a timely basis. As much as a businessman and entrepreneur, you have to be there at your business premises. You dream with your eyes open, so that each and every eventuality and occurrence that takes place within the business environment and the home environment, you would be there to witness, so that you'd be able to alter or change wherever needed or wherever possible for the growth of the team.
And I happen to know that you're a father of 3 kids.
Yes, sir.
Can you link that to what we're talking about? How old are these kids, and tell us about your fatherhood role with respect to each?
Oh, yeah. I have 2 daughters, the ones that I was absent from. The eldest one is 22, the second born is 18. The third born is a young man called, you know, the man, I'll say the name.
Yeah.
He's called Joseph.
Yeah.
He is 2 years and 5 months now.
Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because, like, wow. I'm the only son in my mama's family. Then I believe, like, now it's 2 of us.
Yeah,
I'm always excited about it.
Yes.
So I felt like my absenteeism in their lives when they grew up was a damage to them. For as much as you are not there at your business premises, you don't know what's taking place there. Money goes missing. Balance checks are not done properly. Quick books are not done the way they have to be done. For as much as a father, I have to be there to direct these kids, to help them navigate in life. With your employees, you always tell them as an entrepreneur, this is how things are done for the development and growth for this entity. So I felt like I owed them something when it came a time for me to get married. I got married in 2018, but still we had not bonded. I owed them something, like they needed me as a father. I had to get back to them, reconcile with them, and in business we make reconciliations. So I reconciled with them so that the peace and harmony and acceptance and acknowledgement can be there. So we go on in life as father and daughters. Then in business, when you are not ever present, there are always those things that are going to take you back again. You haven't done this. You haven't done that. This is not the way it was supposed to be. And now all the negatives are going to accrue your time of going forward. They are going to make you stagnant so that you work on them, refurbish, replan on something that had to move on. Then you are being stuck in one place.
All right. Quality time matters, obviously.
Yes, sir.
In both the business and at home.
Yes, sir.
Help the viewer understand why the two are interrelated. In other words, the quality time you spend at home is related to the quality time you spend in the business.
Here I am talking about 2 quality times. The quality time that I have with Joseph is playtime. It's bonding time. And the quality time that you have as an entrepreneur is the quality time that you have balancing the checks, balancing the books, interacting with your employees so that you get to know them. You get to know their strengths and weaknesses. That's the quality time of growth in entrepreneurship. And the quality time that I have with my son is the quality time of growth in the family setup. Because I want to see my son growing as a responsible man, a man of integrity. So whatever qualities of fatherhood that I have to pass through to him. And as an entrepreneur, whatever qualities that you have, business values and business ethics, your employees have to understand why do we have to do things the certain way, in a certain way. Because you will always understand that at times we have to go above the traditional concepts of how things are done, both at home and in the business setup.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Of course, you can't do everything yourself. That means there has to be an element of delegation. How do you handle delegation on both sides? When I say both sides, at home and in the business.
And in the business. You know, you can be a master of everything, but lose out everything at the end of it all. You know, at home, as young kids, we are delegated some chores to do. At the end of the day, when we get together at the dinner table, everything has been cleared. In the workplace or in a business, you would have people that you appoint certain positions. They are being delegated so that at the end of the day, the running of the business on a daily basis, the cogwheels are always oiled. When you come to evaluate at the end of the day, everything has been put in place. It's like putting together the pieces of a puzzle. When we are together, telling this other one, no, when you are only working on the left side of the puzzle, I am working on the right side, we are going to meet in the middle. The last piece is either going to be had by you or by me.
Wow.
Then we complete everything. Yeah.
The phenomenon of absentee fathers in African societies, we've not always had that problem, but it's a widespread problem.
Yes.
What's the cause of it and what cure is there?
I don't know about the cure. You know, the dynamism of life is what is changing everything. My generation and your generation, we are 2 miles apart. Because I know that...
I thought you and I were more or less in the same generation.
Okay, okay, if that's how it is. Because we are never taught how to become fathers. It's something that we learn as we go. Only because you've done something, then you learn through that thing, of which I believe it's not a good thing to do. We find young people like myself becoming entrepreneurs or dreaming to become business people, but they've never had a time of understanding what really business is. What does it need? What does it entail? It's only because now we have not associated ourselves with those people that are already in the game.
Is that because we're first generation business people or first generation entrepreneurs?
First generation entrepreneurs. So that is why at times things don't go well. An absent father would find it difficult to father his only one daughter or son, only because they don't really understand how it's done. And it's going to be too much pressure on them, it's going to be too depressing on them, and they would opt out. Maybe at some point they don't have even anything to give to the son child. Unemployment.
Speaking about your own personal experience, how did you handle that challenge where you have to be available for your children, but there are challenges and pressures, financial and otherwise, that you have to grapple with?
You know, at times there's always that window period whereby you have to reconcile with yourself alone. I've done it all, but what I had was not a t-shirt like what others say. I've done it all and I have a t-shirt. I had it rough because when I finished my Cambridge 1997, 1998 I was in prison, the youngest inmate in Gaborone Central Maximum Prison.
You were in prison?
Yes. Not because of somebody see me selling drugs or you see my drugs, but because of wrong associations. A rape case was hovering above my head. When I got out of prison...
You had been framed?
Yeah, it was perjury actually. When I got out of prison, Nobody even told me that, being fingerprinted is going to tamper with you getting any employment. You see the rough patch that I was going through. And yet still, I was still very far away from them. I was very far away from them. I was trying to navigate my life back. So with them inside, I think it was going to be a super challenge. But I decided, God, I re-established my relationship with you, because with you I am a nobody. That's when it led me now quitting drugs in 2014. And then 2015, after working in Francistown, I became this person. Only because I believe walking became a natural detox for me in terms of drug use and alcoholism. And though I had withdrawal symptoms, there were people that were there to take care of me. Then I decided, no more, not ever. There are some things that I've left behind, my kids. So I enrolled at G4S to become a security officer, Airport Junction. I met a lot of people, great people.
Yes.
And I would always share with them my story. They would feel like, but you are, security officers in our country are being taken as if they are people who are not intelligent. Because they would hear me, speaking the Queen's language with such vigor that they felt like, you are in the wrong place.
With such proficiency.
Yes, but then I would say, no, I'm not in the wrong place. This is a starting point. This is my first stepping stone.
How long were you
to become a better person? I was there from February up to July.
So it was just a transition.
It was a transition. Because after that, I had saved enough to now start visiting my kids, drop them 100 pula, 200 pula, and the lady that I'm married to, Lene, she understood about my kids. And I felt, wow, if now I can rethink and refocus on my kids, why don't I go back and revisit that closet of me becoming a business person? Because I registered a business called Root Boy Investments in 2004. Why can't I do something now? That's when I decided to have Motivate Beverages. Motivate, like from motivational speaker, myself. So Motivate Beverages is a business that deals with processed foods. Because those are the easiest things we can.
Do you motivate manufacturers of processed foods or consumers of processed foods?
I motivate, sir. Because what I decided to do
I want to understand how it ties in with food, your motivation.
I deal with a lot of young people. Then we came together. Those that can do bread, confectionery, bakery, sauces and everything, we came together. We do these things together, we brand them together, we sell them together.
What do you mean you do them? You wrap them or manufacture them?
We manufacture them. Then we package them.
As
complete food. Then when we get to dry food, we buy bomoroho adinawa from other people, bopane, bodinawa. We package them, we brand them. Take them to a shop. There's a shop in Muchudi that buys our brand. It's called Freshmart.
And a brand is called?
Motivate Beverages.
Yes.
We started ginger. Motivate Ginger Thirst Buster. That was our first product because I love ginger too much.
And how is the market responding outside?
The market outside is not yet that much, but locally in Muchud, where I am coming from, where we get the support of Freshmart, everything is going well. We added chickens now. We have broilers that we sell out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said one must be willing to adjust. I wasn't sure when you made that statement whether you were referring to adjusting at home or adjusting the business or both.
Adjusting in both.
Yes. Can you unpack that a bit?
At home, now as we speak in this era, we are raising young men and women that have their own thoughts. We have young people that are angry. We have young people that are not yet determined of what they want to be in life. they need us to be there all the time. So every day, you will never know the moods your kid is coming back from school with. You have to adjust every day. We are within the COVID era right now. So many business adjustments have taken place. For as much as the government imposed SOEs, imposed curfews, there has to be an adjustment somewhere. Businesses have never ever been doing well since the COVID era. Yes, because now some retailers have closed shop. We are at black right now.
Well, black is downstairs.
Yeah.
Here is Mogobe Inc.
Yes, black is not doing well, I know, because the patrons now know that the timing is not going to be.
They're not even allowed to consume alcohol.
That's the problem. So we should always be ready for new changes, for the new normals every day, at home and at work, in the business arena.
So that is the adjustment you're talking about.
Yes, that's
you're
the
talking
adjustment
about adjustment during COVID.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go back to fatherhood again. You've touched on, when we were prepping, about the need for shared responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
The need for shared responsibilities is that if I have children at home, they should grow up to be responsible people. They should know that they have to do their own bidding when they come of age. Even in the business sector, my son has to know what's happening. What is it that my father is doing when he says, I am at work? That's why we have seen the prominence of companies that have more than 100 years in existence, but Haskins and Sons, only because shared qualities and values have been put together to run this thing as a family thing. And that's all that I'm talking about.
What do you say to entrepreneurs who say their kids are showing no interest? Must they force them to come to their businesses?
They shouldn't force them, but they should teach them. They should, they should entice, they should show them the value of being in association with what their father is doing. Yes, we have different choices, but some choices are more better than others. So that's what I'm trying to say here.
What's your recipe? What's your advice for entrepreneurs to encourage their children to get into their business? How do they go about teaching? What's the process like? Because I'm very curious.
I believe the process is simple. Teach your kids what they want to know. Papa, why are you always going to that tall building called Mogobe Plaza every day? I'm trying to make a future for you. But in response, they should say, why are you building a future for us that we are not a part of? So you simply have to teach them. You simply have to let them know that this thing is what you are going to hold on to when I am no longer. You just don't leave something that is material, but you leave something inside of them. That's a weight. You rebuild a spirit of an entrepreneur within them as they grow. So that when they start working on those that are material, they are already spiritually entrepreneurs.
Do you therefore think entrepreneurship can be spoon-fed or taught in that sense?
Entrepreneurship can be spoon-fed and can be taught. That is why now we have workshops for entrepreneurs and business people. That's why we have books written how to become an entrepreneur or a business person. It only emanates from a person's interest. Everything is here. Develop the passion and the interest. And passion and interest can be enticed too. For somebody to be passionate about something, you can entice and coerce them to become passionate.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Now, families giving meaning to businesses.
Yeah.
I see that in the Asian community, that has always been the case.
Yes, sir.
That business and family are intertwined. But you are here to tell us that we should do something as you know, as indigenous entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
to make families really, really give meaning,
Yes, sir.
supply meaning to
Yes,
businesses.
sir. Yes, sir.
That might be a novel concept. So please unpack it for us a bit more.
Okay. You know, I have my son Joseph. I have a business called Motivate Beverages. For him to be a part of that, I'm going to teach them the know-hows of how I have built this thing to become what it is. So that at the end of the day, he would know where my father has left a living legacy for me and my other siblings. So it's something that we should play around with. They would know that as they have a sense of entitlement within that entity, they are not going to let any five tabito fall down. They are going to be protective of anything that comes in and anything that goes out, either being finance, either being goods. And they will always know how to take care of the people who are making it to run, the employees. So as a business entity, it is going to strengthen the family setup at home and the business itself. Because every day when we get back from work, what is it that we talk about as a family when we gathered around the dinner table? We are like-minded. Just like, take, for example, a Christian family. They go to church together on Sunday. When they come back, what do at the dinner table? They discuss their faith, they discuss God, they pray together. But what about us as a family of entrepreneurs? What do we talk about and what do we do?
We must talk entrepreneurship.
We talk entrepreneurship. And that's the living legacy that is going to continue for eons of years to come.
Okay, we're going to talk about priorities in a minute, but your story about being into drugs has touched me, and it's a very touching story. What was the key? There might be somebody watching us now who really doesn't know how to get out. For you, what was the key? What was the trigger that helped you get out of it?
This one is a tricky one because we might be using the same stuff, but we are not going to hallucinate the same. Addiction is personal. Even getting out is personal. It gets one's willpower. It gets one's determination that, do you know what, I don't want to do this. But there has to be something that has to happen for one now to opt out. I said before I was in prison at a young age. I nearly died because of ecstasy. Finding myself at Princess Maruna Hospital, bleeding profusely, non-stop.
From the nose?
From the nose. That thing only told me, either you make it out alive and you make it out alive for good. But if you are gonna go, know that you are gone for good. But I had a little prayer with me that said, God, take me. Do you know why? Because once you are in drugs, you become a liar, you become a cheat, you steal from home. Everyone around you is always a hurt because of you. You develop a syndrome of me, myself, and I. Everything is all about you.
Oh, no.
Like me, I never cared when my mama was crying for what I was doing to her, or when she was praying for my betterment. I never cared. But that time, I had to care. I had to see how important family was, but yet still I said, I don't want to go back there. But when I made it out alive, I said, wow, I've been granted and given a second chance in life.
What is it about ecstasy that causes bleeding?
No, you know what? I was using 4 tablets every morning of ecstasy. So as a performer, on stage, stage actor, I needed all the energies, I needed all the vigor, I needed everything. But there was a time when I had one. And I felt like I don't want to be seen breaking down now in the middle of an act. So in the drug world, there's what is called to form a base. You know, there is tea, it's somewhere down there. There is water here. I can still add water in that.
Yes.
It will retain the color even if the color is not. But if I add sugar, it's tea, I can drink. Just like that. In the drug world, forming a base is taking two things that are of the same quality, put them together either to enhance or strengthen the toxicity of whatever that you are doing.
Toxicity.
Toxicity, yeah. Now I took Vim from the kitchen. Vim has got some crystals in it, salt like crystals. So actually that's what I needed. So I had to crush that one tablet into powder form, put it in a spoon, pour in Vim, pour in water, hit under, so that this mixture now becomes another type of drug. And at this point, I had to sneeze.
Terrifying.
Very terrifying, because some of the crystals within this mixture were not done, were not bent, were not dissolved. That's why they tampered with my inner nostril.
Meaning they cut some veins.
Some veins. So the blood was not able to clot, so that the blood could stop. So that's how I ended up at Princess Marina Hospital.
Was that like your Damascus experience? Is that when you came around to see?
That's when I decided
That you
no
changed.
more. That's when I decided no more, because the walk itself after that healed me. It was a prayer walk. And within that, there were the people that had never ever tasted or done anything of the nature that I did. So I had that support along the way. We visited each and every church that we came across for our spiritual upliftment. And I just wanted to find myself in God one way or the other, because I knew without Him,
You had no hope.
I had no hope. I became a hopeless situation for my family, actually.
Okay. Keeping priorities in check. Maybe as a motivational speaker, this is something you have spoken about. How do people keep their priorities in check, and how do you do it?
You know, we are going through trying times, and we no longer know what is best and what is worst. We don't know which area of priority comes first. But as a father, my kids will always come first. Looking at other priorities that are there, I would choose my family over any other thing. And as a business person, you have to do the same. You don't have to sit back and cry, or COVID has destroyed everything. Find an opportunity in an area where none can see any. Let it become your first priority. Change the modality of how you've been running your business, because a situation is here. It is now determining you to do that. You go above the traditional concept of how black has been operating.
There's an example.
As an example. So we have to find top priorities within other priorities.
Speaking of restaurants, I mean, we've tried that at Nona's, the other restaurant we run, in the sense that that's an Italian restaurant. We had to convince the franchisor that let's introduce Tswana cuisine. Now for the past few weeks, we're selling traditional Tswana food. Isn't that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about. Because now, instead of having one kind of serving, which is Italian, we have added another cuisine. There are two now. So I have choices to make now. I have choices to make in one place. I won't go to another place that offers what you don't offer. But only because we have all of them, I am entitled to
in an effort to survive.
Yes.
In an effort to adapt.
Yes.
Be the focus, keep the focus. Isn't that a bit selfish when you are the focus?
It's in two ways.
Yeah.
Both the head and the tail. Because as a father, You focus on your children. See how they grow. Anything that happens to them, you have to be focused. And as an entrepreneur, you are the focus of your employees. They are just looking at you. What other new changes are you going to come with? What other new prospects are you going to come with? What other new partners are you going to come with? Just like Joe, in the evening when I get home, he wants to see me at least taking out a sweet expectations. So expectations are going to keep us focused on all those things that are good. And as the focus myself, Joe is always expecting something good from me. And as a businessman, your community is focusing on you. Yesterday, we did not have milk at Black. Is it going to be something that is continuous? We start to ask ourselves questions. We start to look at you. I didn't drink tea with milk because of him. Now, you are the focus.
Even though I don't even, I have a manager there, they ignore him, they look at me.
You are, because we look beyond the person who is at the gate. The creator is the one that we are looking for.
In other words, the entrepreneur.
The entrepreneur
The
himself.
owner.
The owner.
Now, in this context of that, you also speak about the importance of perfect practice making perfect. Patience and perfect practice makes perfect. The 4 P's. Where do you get that from and what does it mean?
From here.
Yeah. What does it mean?
You know, when you exercise patience, at one point you'd think it's a miracle. Yes, it's a miracle. You'd see things that were not happening when you took shortcuts now starting to happen to you. Only because you exercised patience. At 10 months, I would expect, in my mind, I would want to see Joseph early 10 years. But it takes time. 10 months and 10 years, there's a lot that is taking place in between. So as an entrepreneur, for the growth of your business, you have to be patient. And you have to know which routes to navigate. As a father, which routes do I take my family through to have that strong relationship? And as an entrepreneur, for the growth of your business, which routes are you taking that are motivating your employees to come up with new developments that are going to make this entity to grow?
But what do you define as perfect practice? What is perfect practice?
You know, we always believed in practice makes perfect. But you can practice and practice, but no perfection would ever come out of you. Why would you go to a soccer practice, but each and every time there is a soccer match, a game, you are a bench warmer? It means that one element of perfection has been left out. Perfect practice makes perfect. You have to practice perfectly. That means you have to exercise excellence in what you are doing. Excellence in the home as a father, the ethics and values of fatherhood. Excellence in the workspace, the ethics and values of being an entrepreneur.
Isn't this something that Steve Covey spoke about when he said, you know, you're going up the corporate ladder, you're going up the wall, but are you sure the ladder is leaning against the correct wall? But if you go up all the way and you find that this is not the wall that I wanted to go, is that what you're referring to?
What I'm trying to say is, before...
Does that analogy work for you?
A bit, but I have my own.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, I was like, you know, before you board a ship, know where the guardrails are. So that as you go up the steps or the ladder itself, if a mishap takes place, know where your handhold is going to be. Know where your support system is going to be. The guardrail. So you should always be aware as a father of the surroundings that your kids play at. As an entrepreneur, be aware of your competitors and your associates. And all this add to growth. And all this are going to determine your cautiousness in all that you are doing.
In your motivational speaking work, do you have a keynote address, or do you generally leave it to the people you are talking to come up with a topic, or how does it work?
Most of the times, I would hear the situation that somebody wants to be addressed. I come up with a topic. Sometimes I say, or I give out a ready-made topic, which actually is a book on itself. It's called My Life, My Story, To Hell and Back to Tell. It's a book that I'm writing. It talks about me. So with that story, I want to show other people to realize that at times there is a need for you to fall down so that you understand and know the reason why you are standing up and brushing the dirt off your clothes and continuing back again on your journey. Yeah.
So you don't have like a keynote address, obviously. You adapt to whatever the audience needs based on your requirements.
It's just on adaptation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Selflessness. One man can be a role model.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
This one, actually, when I put it down, I was looking at you. Yeah. Because I follow the Nuggets, and your son, Sakhel, is a friend of mine, and I was like, and you know, in all these platforms, I know that you are a hardworking man. So you became my role model, let me tell you. So if we could have as many men as you are carrying your son along. You are a role model to him. Already, all the qualities of an entrepreneur have been carved for him. And I was like, wow, I have Joseph. I want to be like Mr. Mogobe so that Joseph will not only look at me as a rapper, my father a rapper, my father a motivational speaker, but my father a businessman, an entrepreneur. So when I said one man can be a role model for all of us, looking at the boy child, Bana ba gompieno ba basimane, we are the ones that are always in trouble, either in jail, either killing ourselves. It's us in high numbers. But where are our role models? Role models to the boy child. Then I simply picked you out of all the men in the country.
Okay, you want me to blush now around you're making me shy.
But that's how it is.
Oh,
I just
see.
admired your leadership here, like wow. That's one man that actually is my role model. And even when I met you, it was through your son. And it's like a father-son kind of a relationship within a business setup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there is the issue of a high divorce rate in Botswana, which ties in the question of balancing entrepreneurship and fatherhood.
Yeah.
They're all interrelated.
Yeah.
Do you think there are any solutions that pop to mind, or any, any way for us as a society to address that particular problem?
Since I was born, I just knew hormonal divorce, but not at this rate that we are in. Our cultures and norms are now dead or dying because in our generation we want things to be done our way. But I find myself blessed because before I got married, me and my partner, we decided to go for premarital counseling. We are two different people with loads that we are coming with, trying to become one. Is it gonna work for us? I felt like no, because I've been in relationships before and they never, ever went anywhere. But with this one, I don't want to take a chance. So it's a gamble, and it's personal. What is it that you cherish most that you are going to protect? That is a question that has to linger on each and every person's ear. Why is it that we are too destructive of the things that we say we love? Because divorce itself, it distracts emotionally. Are we getting divorced because there is no money in the house? Are we getting divorced because of promiscuity and adultery or whatever? These things, they need people to be in one accord, to sit and talk about them, find ways around them to find a solution. But most of the times we are just looking at our carnality and forget our spirituality. Because we should always, we should always put God first in everything that we do. Otherwise, it might be you, me and you trying to come with a solution to this, forgetting that actually we need a third brain.
Which is God's eternal brain.
That is it.
Yeah.
We can't be triumphant on our own. We can't be victorious on our own. And he says, some of the battles are better left to me than you taking them head on.
Yeah, you've sparked something in my head as you're talking. The people we look up to, let's just talk about the top 5 richest people. Just 2 days ago, I heard Bill Gates is getting divorced.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, it was Jeff Bezos. People like Elon Musk, 2 divorces. What's going on with entrepreneurs? Why are entrepreneurs who we supposed to look up to having their marriages fall apart? What do you think is the reason for that? And is there anything that can be done about that?
I think, it's just my thought actually. It's just my thought. I think, as the saying goes, more money, more problems. There might be some things that are happening that the other party is not party to. I become wealthy because of my business, but I'll do things that my spouse doesn't know anything about. Cheating. And at the end of the day, should never take it anymore. She has been quiet to try and protect the name.
We are speculating here. We don't
Yeah,
know.
we are speculating, yeah. That's why I'm giving an example about myself. You know, we are trying to protect the family. I'm doing it for the kids, or I'm doing it for the family. But there's one day and one day only where now every hinge is going to break loose. So that's why now at the end of the day, some secrets are getting revealed, you know, and now trust issues, loyalty, faith. Once we trample upon those, love is dead, but money will remain.
So as entrepreneurs and fathers, what's your final advice? I see you say some days I don't know how I'm going to do it, but every single day I get it done. Give us a conclusive point on that.
You know, when I said that, it's only because at times, as a father, you don't know what kind of a son or daughter you are raising. But one day you find yourself appreciating what is there on the table. I never knew I was going to do it. But look at it now. It's done. And as an entrepreneur, you go through challenges. And at times you never know whether you are going to get out of whatever that is there. But one day you find that you've made it and you look backward, but I never knew I was going to do it. But yet I did it. That's all that I felt about.
Yeah, here's your chance to ask me a question, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Wow. I have to ask my role model a question. Wow. Mr. Mogobe, you know, I admire your being a role model to your son and to many, or to your family, okay? I want to be like you. in terms of how you run your businesses, because I see Mogobe Incorporated, it means it has a lot of other things. And how do you manage multitasking, or you manage through delegation?
There's no one answer to that. It's never smooth sailing. Never.
Okay.
And if you compare me to other businesses, a lot of businesses here in this CBD, I'm like a dot. So it's really a case of being teachable. Some of the things you covered,
Okay.
recognizing that the more you know,
Okay.
the less you know. I think if it's not Plato, it was Socrates who said that. Basically, there has to be an appreciation that you're a provider of solutions.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, there's always firefighting involved. People see you and they think that it's all smooth. No, it's forever a fight. But then you embrace the fight. You enjoy the journey, and then you deal with it one day at a time. You accept that you do not know what tomorrow holds, only God knows that. You accept that everything can fall apart, everything can explode any minute. There are businesses that are a million times bigger than us which have collapsed. So remain teachable, remain humble, recognize that you have no clue. Wow. Surround yourself with intelligent people. We have chartered accountants, one in Maung and one here. We have very, very educated people working in my offices as we speak.
That's good.
We have very experienced people running our restaurants. So as long as you try and recognize that you are learning all the time.
Yeah.
And this platform, the whole notion that you have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Look at me, how fortunate I am today. You're 100 times smarter than me in terms of your knowledge base, in terms of how articulate you are, and I learn a lot from you. That's why you and I have been interacting for the past year.
Yeah.
You may call yourself my mentee, but I'm also learning.
Wow.
And the same with these gentlemen that I'm mentoring. So that to me is the key. And of course, putting God first, your faith and so on. All those things are important. I hope I've answered your question.
Wow, very, very, very awesome. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And something came to mind when you talked about embracing the fire that is raging on forever. You become part of that fire. I thought of the box that we are told to think out of. Now become the box itself, and you contain every thoughts and knowledge within it.
Yeah.
So that when you explode, wow.
Well, it's an interesting way of putting it. That is your camera there, Mr. Mokone.
Yes, sir.
A concluding message on balancing act, fatherhood as a balancing act for entrepreneurship. Leave the listener with something to take home, some inspirational message.
Okay.
Over there.
Fatherhood is one of the institutions that God has created for men, male men for that matter. A man has to provide, a man has to secure, a man has to guide, a man has to direct. As an entrepreneur, you are too. You guide, you direct, you teach, as others follow. You are the beacon of light. You are the beacon of development. You are the beacon of expansion. You are the beacon of life. So I'm taking these two roles together because when you lose the other, you've lost it all. Because we have young kids that we are raising that need us to protect them, to support them, and to feed them. And in entrepreneurship, for it to grow, you should have people that are responsible because you teach them how to. Thank you.
All right, Ramukone, let me just thank you for taking the time out.
Thank you
You've
so much.
been a wonderful guest.
Yeah.
You shared liberally.
Yeah.
But just tell the viewers how to contact you, where you are available on social media, your contact details. Some of them may want to take advantage of your services. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So you can find us at Boyson Boipelo Motivational Services. Our contacts are 74213324 and 74310257. Our page is called Boyson Boipelo Mokone Motivational Services. We are on Twitter at Boyson Mokone, and we are based in Muchudi.
Is there any WhatsApp contact?
Our WhatsApp contact is 77114628. That's our WhatsApp contact, 77114628. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramkon.
Thank you, sir.